Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the English Pod community. My name is Lucy, and I'm so glad you're here. If you're new to this channel, we help you improve your English every day with real conversations, simple stories, and useful topics. Today, we're talking about something we all face: stress. I'll share with you what I do when I feel stressed, and you'll hear some stories and situations to help you understand English better and speak more confidently. So, let's begin. When I feel stressed, the first thing I try to do is slow down. Sometimes I take a deep breath and step away from what I'm doing. For example, last week I had a really busy day. I had 3 meetings, a long list of tasks, and my youngest daughter, Lily, had a school project due. Everything felt too much at once. I started feeling that tight feeling in my chest, when your body is telling you to stop. So I went to the kitchen, made myself a cup of warm tea, and sat down for just 5 minutes. That short break helped me calm down. Another thing that really helps me is writing down my thoughts. I always keep a small notebook in my bag. When I'm stressed, I write about what's bothering me. I ask myself questions like, what is making me feel this way? Or, can I do something about it now? Writing gives me a sense of control. Last month, for example, I was worried about a family trip. We were visiting my husband's parents, and I wasn't sure how we'd manage with the kids and travel plans. I wrote down every little worry and then made a plan. That helped a lot. Sometimes I also go for a walk. Even a short walk around the block can change the way I feel. A few days ago, I was feeling really frustrated. My computer was acting up, I couldn't finish my work, and everything seemed to be going wrong. I told my son Daniel, I need 10 minutes. I put on my shoes and walked to the nearby park. Just seeing trees, hearing birds, and breathing fresh air made a big difference. Talking to someone I trust is another way I manage stress. When I speak with my husband, he doesn't always give advice. He just listens. That alone helps me feel lighter. One evening, I was very upset because of a problem at work. I told him everything that happened during dinner. I didn't expect a solution, I just needed to speak it out. And after our talk, my mood improved a lot. Let me also tell you a story about my neighbor, Mr. Thomas. He's retired now, but he used to be a school principal. One day, I saw him sitting on a bench outside our building, looking peaceful. I asked, Mr. Thomas, how do you stay so calm? He smiled and said, I've had many stressful years, but I learned that most things pass if you just take them one step at a time. He told me that he used to make a list of 3 things he could do each day to handle stress. Not 10 things, just 3. That advice has stayed with me. Sometimes we also feel stress when we think too much about the future. Will things go wrong? Will I fail? I tried to bring my mind back to today. I say, what do I need to do now? I remember one Saturday morning, I had a full weekend planned: groceries, cleaning, and helping Daniel with his homework. But thinking of everything at once made me freeze. So I stopped and asked myself, what's the first thing I can do? I picked up a broom and started sweeping the kitchen floor. That small action helped me move forward. Taking care of my body also helps with stress. When I don't sleep well, I notice I get upset more easily. So I try to go to bed at the same time every night. I don't drink too much tea before bed, and I keep my phone away. One night, I stayed up very late answering emails. The next day, I was tired, slow, and moody. That's when I realized my body needs rest to fight stress. One more thing I do is help others. This may sound strange, but when I help someone else, I feel stronger. Last week, my friend Sarah called me. She was having a tough time managing her home and job. I listened to her, gave a few small tips, and we laughed together. After our call, I noticed my own stress had dropped. Helping someone else reminded me that I'm not alone. There was also a day when my daughter Lily was crying because she lost her drawing book. I sat with her, looked under the sofa, behind the shelf, and finally found it under her bed. Her smile came back instantly. That simple moment reminded me stress often disappears with love, attention, and patience. Even cooking a simple meal can help. Last Sunday, I was tired, but I decided to cook some rice and vegetables. As I chopped the carrots and stirred the pot, I felt calm. There's something peaceful about doing one thing slowly without rushing. And, of course, prayer helps me the most. When everything feels too much, I stop and ask for peace in my heart. That quiet time gives me strength. It reminds me that I don't have to carry everything by myself. Sometimes I also read short books that Another way I manage stress is by staying organized. When my space is messy, my mind feels messy too. That's why I like to tidy up my desk every morning before I start work. Just 10 minutes of organizing my papers, my pens, and my notebook helps me feel clear and ready. One time, I couldn't find an important file for a meeting. I searched everywhere and started to panic. Then I remembered I had placed it in a labeled folder last week. That small habit of organizing saved me time and reduced my stress. Let me tell you a quick story about my cousin James. He works as a delivery driver and spends hours in traffic every day. I asked him, "How do you stay calm when everything's moving so slowly?" He said, "I can't change traffic, but I can change how I feel inside." He told me that he uses red lights as a signal to relax. When he stops at a red light, he takes a deep breath and thinks of something he's thankful for. That simple trick keeps him from getting angry and stressed on the road. Gratitude is powerful. I've started writing down 3 things I'm thankful for every night before bed. One night I wrote, "I'm thankful for a clean kitchen, a kind message from a friend, and my daughter's laughter." When we focus on what's good, even during hard times, our stress becomes smaller. Also, I've noticed that drinking enough water makes a difference. If I skip water and only drink tea or coffee, I get tired and stressed more easily. Now I keep a bottle of water on my desk and remind myself to drink during the day. Last Thursday, I had a headache and couldn't think clearly. Then I realized I hadn't had water in hours. After 2 glasses, I felt so much better. One helpful idea I've learned is to create a simple routine. A routine gives structure to my day. It helps me know what to expect. For example, every morning I wake up, wash my face, pray, and write down my top 3 tasks. That small morning routine helps me feel in control, even when the rest of the day is busy. Let's talk about stress at home. There are times when I argue with my children, especially when they don't listen. One evening, I was feeling tired, and Daniel spilled juice on the carpet. I wanted to shout, but instead I took a breath and said, "Let's clean it together." He brought a towel and helped me. After that, we both felt better. Handling small problems calmly can reduce bigger stress later. Sometimes we also feel stressed about money or bills. Last winter, we had to pay for a home repair, and it was more expensive than we expected. I felt pressure, but instead of worrying alone, I sat with my husband and made a simple plan. We decided to cut some extra spending for a few weeks. That helped us handle the situation together. Talking about stress is better than holding it inside. Do you know what else helps? Saying no. Sometimes we take on too much. A few months ago, a friend asked me to join a local event. I wanted to help, but I knew I was already tired. I politely said, "I'd love to, but I need to rest this week." Saying no was difficult, but it protected my energy and helped me avoid more stress. Let me share one more story. A friend of mine, Emily, is a nurse. Her job is stressful, especially during busy seasons. I asked her, "What keeps you going?" She said,
I remind myself that I'm doing something meaningful. Even if it's hard, I know I'm helping someone. That mindset gives her strength. Sometimes stress feels smaller when we connect our actions to a purpose. Lately, I've also been spending time in the garden. Just 15 minutes pulling weeds or watering plants brings peace. Nature has a way of calming our minds. Even if you live in an apartment, you can grow herbs by a window or keep a small plant on your desk. Seeing something grow slowly reminds you that change takes time. When I feel very overwhelmed, I break tasks into small steps. Instead of saying, I have to clean the whole house, I say, I'll clean the living room first. And after that, maybe the kitchen. Doing one thing at a time reduces pressure. A few weeks ago, the house was a mess after a family gathering. I felt stuck, so I played the timer for 10 minutes and cleaned just one area. That small start gave me the push to keep going. Sometimes helping my children with their homework also teaches me patience. One day, Lily was learning how to multiply. She didn't understand at first and got frustrated. I sat beside her and explained slowly. After a while, she got it. Her face lit up. In that moment, I realized that slowing down for others helps me slow down inside too. Taking breaks is also important. We don't have to be busy all the time. One Friday afternoon, after finishing my work, I made a cup of tea, sat on the balcony, and watched the sky change colors. That short, quiet moment gave me peace after a long day. Sometimes I also talk to people who are going through something similar. Sharing stories makes us feel less alone. A few days ago, I spoke with my friend Rachel. She has 3 children, works part-time, and takes care of her elderly mother. That's a lot of responsibility. She told me that some days she just wants to cry from the stress. I asked her what helps the most. She said, just talking to someone who understands. Even 5 minutes of real conversation makes my day better. There was a moment last winter when I felt completely overwhelmed. It was cold, the children were home from school because of the weather, and the heater in our house wasn't working well. The house felt too small, too noisy, and my head was spinning. I went into the bedroom, closed the door quietly, and sat on the edge of the bed. I didn't look at my phone, I didn't try to fix anything. I just sat there, breathing in and out slowly. After a few minutes, I felt calmer. I opened the door, called the heating repair service, and then made some warm soup for the kids. Taking a pause before acting really made a difference. My friend Mark has a busy job as a construction manager. He told me that he used to yell when things didn't go right at work, but he started changing the way he reacts. One day, the delivery truck was late, and his team was waiting with nothing to do. Mark said he felt the stress rise inside him. Instead of shouting, he walked to a quiet corner, drank water, and reminded himself, getting angry won't fix the truck. Later, he thanked his team for being patient. He told me that day changed how he handles problems. My daughter Lily also teaches me how to stay calm. She's only 7, but sometimes her ideas are full of wisdom. One evening, I was looking for an important letter and couldn't find it. I was walking around the living room, picking up papers, feeling my heartbeat get faster. Lily came up to me and said, "Mama, maybe if you sit down, your brain will remember." I smiled and did what she said, and guess what? After I sat quietly for 2 minutes, I remembered the letter was in my work bag. Children often see things clearly when we're too busy to notice. My husband, Adam, is very good at staying calm under pressure. One day, our car had a flat tire on the way to his brother's wedding. We were already running late. I felt my chest tighten, but Adam looked at me and said, "We'll do what we can. Let's just solve one thing at a time." He got out, started fixing the tire, and asked me to call his brother. His calm helped me stay calm too. We arrived a little late, but everything went well. That moment reminded me how powerful it is when one person stays steady in the storm. Another time, I was shopping with my son Daniel. We had a short list: milk, eggs, and bread. But the store was very crowded. People were pushing carts, some children were crying, and the noise was making my head hurt. I noticed Daniel was also getting tense. I said, "Let's stop for a second." We moved to a quiet corner, and I asked him to take 3 deep breaths with me. After that, we finished shopping quickly. Teaching our children how to deal with stress can help us too. One day, my sister Helen called me early in the morning. She sounded very tired. Her toddler had been sick all night and she hadn't slept. She said, "I just don't know how I'll get through the day." I listened to her for a few minutes and then said, "What's one small thing you can do now?" She replied, "I can make some toast and tea." That's what she did. And later she messaged me and said that simple breakfast gave her the strength to keep going. Small steps, even when everything feels hard, are still steps forward. Sometimes I make a list of what's going well, not a big list, just a few lines. I call it my good things list. One day, I was feeling very stressed about work and home. I took out a paper and wrote, 1. Daniel finished his school project. 2. The sun is shining. 3. I cooked a healthy dinner. That tiny list changed my focus. It reminded me that even when life feels heavy, there are always little pieces of light. I met a woman named Grace at the clinic last year. She was sitting beside me in the waiting room and we started talking. She said she was there with her husband who was going through some health problems. She looked tired, but calm. I asked how she managed to stay so peaceful. She said, "Every morning I ask myself, what do I need to do today? Not what I want to do." That helps me focus on what's truly important. I never forgot those words. Grace also told me that she writes down one positive sentence every day. That morning, she had written, "I have the strength to handle what comes." Simple words, but strong. I started doing that too. Some mornings my sentence is, "I am enough." Other times it's, "Today I will choose peace." Writing those lines gives me quiet strength. Once I was cooking dinner and the power went out. It was completely dark. I had half-cooked pot of rice on the stove and hungry kids waiting. I felt stress rise quickly. But instead of panicking, I lit a candle, told the children we'd have a picnic dinner, and served whatever was ready. We sat on the floor, talked, and laughed. That moment turned into a memory, not because everything went right, but because we stayed calm together. My neighbor, Mr. James, is 72 years old and full of life. He once told me a story about when he was younger. He worked in a factory where the machines were loud and the work was hard. He said one day he felt like running away from everything. But instead of quitting, he took a deep breath and asked his manager if he could change his work area for a day. That small change helped him reset his energy. Sometimes when stress builds up, changing our environment, even for a short time, can help a lot. Another thing I do is set small goals during the day. If I feel stressed, I tell myself, just clean the table, or just fold 5 shirts. That small action gives me a sense of progress. One time I was having a tough morning, and the kitchen was full of dirty dishes. I didn't have the energy to clean it all, but I said, wash just 3 plates. After that, I did 3 more. Then the cups, and before I knew it, the kitchen was clean, and my stress was gone. I remember a rainy evening when we were all stuck inside, the kids were fighting, the floor was messy, and I couldn't hear myself think. I sat on the floor and started sorting socks, one by one, matching the colors, slowly. That simple task gave me peace in the middle of the noise. Sometimes peace doesn't come from silence. It comes from choosing one thing to focus on. I also remind myself that I'm not alone. Many people are going through hard times. My friend Linda recently lost her job and she said she was waking up every night with worry. I sent her a message every morning for a week, just saying, "You're doing great. Keep going." After a few days, she replied, "Your words help me get out of bed." Encouragement is powerful. When we support others, we often find that our own stress feels smaller. A powerful thing I've learned is to let go of what I can't control. Sometimes I plan my whole day, and then something unexpected happens. A guest arrives, a child gets sick, or the power goes. I want to share a story about my friend Rachel. She works as a nurse, and her days are often very long and difficult. One evening, after a 12-hour shift, she told me she felt completely exhausted and stressed. Instead of going straight home, she decided to take a short walk in the nearby park. She said, "The quiet and fresh air helped me breathe again." She also carries a small notebook with her where she writes positive thoughts. One of her favorite phrases is, "This too shall pass." Rachel reminded me that sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to pause, even when life is busy. My husband, Adam, also has his ways to manage stress. When he feels overwhelmed at work, he takes a short break and drinks water slowly. He says it helps him reset. One afternoon, he had a lot of reports to finish and felt pressure building. Instead of rushing, he closed his eyes for a few seconds, stretched his arms, and told himself, "I can do this one step at a time." That small pause helped him focus and finish his work without feeling burned out. I've learned that cooking can be very calming. Last Sunday, I spent an hour making vegetable soup. I peeled carrots, chopped onions, and stirred the pot slowly. Cooking gave me a chance to think quietly and relax my mind. My son, Daniel, likes to help in the kitchen too. He says it makes him feel proud and calm when he sees the food ready. Sometimes simple activities like cooking bring peace we didn't expect. One morning, I noticed my daughter Lily looking worried. She said she had a big test at school and felt nervous. I told her, "Let's practice breathing together." We sat down, breathed in deeply through our noses, held it for a moment, then breathed out slowly through our mouths. After a few breaths, she smiled and said, "I feel better now." Teaching children simple ways to handle stress is important because they learn these skills for life. Another helpful habit I've developed is writing a to-do list, but not a long, overwhelming list, just 3 tasks each day. On days when I feel stressed, I pick the 3 most important things and focus only on those. For example, yesterday, my list was 1. Call the doctor, 2. Pay the electricity bill, 3. Prepare dinner. Completing those 3 tasks made me feel accomplished and less stressed. I want to tell you about my neighbor, Mr. Johnson. He is retired and spends a lot of time gardening. He told me that tending to plants helps him stay calm. He said, "Watching flowers grow reminds me that patience is important." Sometimes I visit his garden and help him water the plants. It feels peaceful and quiet there, like the world slows down for a while. When I'm very busy, I try to take short breaks during the day. Even 5 minutes of standing by the window and looking outside helps me feel refreshed. One afternoon, I was working on a difficult report. I took a break, looked at the sky, and noticed the clouds moving slowly. It reminded me to slow down too. After the break, my mind was clearer and I worked better. There was a day when Daniel forgot his lunch at home and I was already late for a meeting. I felt the stress rising inside me. Instead of getting upset, I told myself, "It's okay, we can solve this." I quickly prepared a sandwich and packed it in his backpack. I called the school and asked them to keep it safe until lunchtime. Taking a problem one step at a time helped me stay calm and solve it. Talking with my husband Adam helps me too. Sometimes after a long day, I tell him about everything that happened, both good and bad. He listens carefully without interrupting. Just knowing someone understands can reduce stress a lot. I remember one night when I felt upset about a work problem. After sharing it with Adam, I felt lighter and ready to face the next day. I also try to avoid multitasking when I'm stressed. Doing many things at once makes my mind feel crowded. One morning, I was trying to cook breakfast, answer emails, and get Daniel ready for school. It was too much. I stopped, focused on cooking first, then answered emails, and finally helped Daniel. Breaking tasks into smaller parts helped me feel in control. Sometimes I use simple positive affirmations to calm myself. Phrases like, I am calm, I am strong, and I can handle this help me stay focused. When stress comes, I repeat these quietly to myself. It's like giving my mind a gentle reminder that everything will be okay. One rainy afternoon, Lily and I baked cookies together. We measured the ingredients slowly, mixed the dough carefully, and waited patiently for the cookies to bake. That time together helped both of us feel calm and happy. Doing things with loved ones can reduce stress and create joyful memories. My friend Sarah teaches me the importance of asking for help. She works full-time and cares for her elderly mother. One week, she felt overwhelmed and called me. We made a plan together to share some tasks. I helped her with grocery shopping, and she took a break. Asking for help does not mean weakness. It shows strength and wisdom. I also take time to drink water throughout the day. Sometimes when I feel tired or stressed, I realize I haven't had enough water. Drinking a glass slowly refreshes me. On busy days, I keep a bottle near my desk to remind myself. Simple habits like this keep my body and mind balanced. When I feel stressed, I remind myself to be kind. Stress can make us feel impatient or angry, but kindness changes everything. I try to speak gently to my children and husband even when I'm tired. Last week, Daniel spilled juice on the floor. Instead of getting upset, I smiled and said, "It's okay, let's clean it together." That moment turned stress into teamwork. One morning, I woke up feeling anxious about the day ahead. I sat quietly and thought about things I could control. I decided to focus on 3 good things: a warm cup of tea, my family's smiles, and the fresh air outside. Starting the day with positive thoughts helped me face challenges calmly. My Uncle Peter once told me, "Take care of your body and your mind will follow." I believe this deeply. When I don't sleep enough or eat poorly, I feel stressed faster. I try to get 7 hours of sleep and eat balanced meals. These choices make a big difference in how I feel. I want to share a story about Daniel's teacher, Mrs. Brown. She told me she practices deep breathing every morning before class. It helps her stay calm and patient with all her students. I think adults and children can both benefit from simple breathing exercises. It's a small step that brings big peace. Sometimes I write letters to myself. I write about my worries and then write advice as if I am.
Sometimes stress comes from unexpected places. I remember a morning when the internet stopped working just before an important video call. I felt my heart race and my hands get sweaty. Instead of panicking, I took a moment to breathe deeply and checked my phone for a hotspot. When I found one, I connected quickly and joined the call on time. That moment taught me that staying calm helps me find solutions faster. My friend Sarah, who works as a school librarian, once shared how she handles stress during busy days. She said she carries a small stone in her pocket. Whenever she feels overwhelmed, she holds the stone and focuses on its smooth surface for a few seconds. This simple act helps her return to the present moment and reduce anxiety. It shows how small objects or habits can bring peace. At home, I try to create calm spaces. For example, I set up a small corner with a comfy chair and soft lighting where I can read or write quietly.
Whenever I feel stressed, I spend a few minutes there to recharge. My daughter Lily sometimes joins me with her drawing pad, and we enjoy quiet time together. Having a peaceful place at home is like giving my mind a little rest stop. My friend Adam has a great way to handle stress after work. He likes to do light stretching exercises. He says it helps release the tension in his muscles and clears his mind. One evening, after a long day, I joined him. We stretched together for 10 minutes, and I felt my body relax. Physical movement, even gentle, can reduce stress and improve mood. One afternoon, Daniel came home upset because he had a disagreement with a friend at school. I listened carefully and asked him how he wanted to feel instead. He said, "I want to feel calm." I suggested we practice deep breathing together. After a few breaths, he smiled and said, "I feel better now." Teaching children to manage emotions builds strong foundations for their future. Sometimes I write down my worries and then cross them out one by one. This helps me see that not all problems need my attention at once. Breaking down worries into smaller parts makes them less scary. One rainy day, when I felt overwhelmed by tasks, I tried this and felt lighter. Writing and organizing thoughts can clear mental clutter. My neighbor Clara is very kind and always ready to help. When I'm stressed, she invites me for tea and a chat. Talking with someone who listens without judgment helps me feel supported. One evening, she shared how she manages stress by focusing on small joys, like watching birds outside her window. Finding happiness in little things can brighten dark days. I also try to keep a healthy routine. Going to bed and waking up at the same time helps my body feel steady. When I skip sleep, I notice I get stressed more easily. Last month, I started going to bed earlier, and I feel more energetic during the day. Good sleep is a natural stress fighter. When I'm feeling anxious, sometimes I use visualization. I close my eyes and imagine a peaceful place, like a quiet garden or a calm beach. I picture the colors, sounds, and smells. This mental escape helps me relax and face problems with a fresh mind. Visualization is a powerful tool. I recommend. One weekend, my husband and I cleaned the garage together. It was a big job, and at first, I felt tired just thinking about it. But breaking the work into small steps, sorting boxes, throwing out trash, organizing tools, made it easier. By the end of the day, the garage looked great, and I felt proud. Tackling big tasks in parts reduces stress. My friend Mark is a firefighter. He told me that after tough days, he writes down 3 things he's grateful for. This habit helps him remember the good in his life, even when work is hard. I started doing this too, and it brings a positive outlook that fights stress. Sometimes I use aromatherapy to calm myself. Scents like lavender and peppermint help me relax. I keep a small bottle of essential oil at home and use it when I feel tension. The smell reminds me to slow down and breathe deeply. When Daniel and Lily are upset, we sometimes play a quiet game called I Spy. It helps them focus on the present moment and forget their worries for a while. Playing simple games with family brings laughter and calm. My friend Emma told me she takes short naps when she feels overwhelmed. Even a 15-minute nap helps recharge her energy and reduce stress. When I'm very tired, I try to rest for a short time instead of pushing through. Listening to my body is important. One afternoon, I practiced mindful eating. Instead of rushing through lunch, I focused on the colors, smells, and tastes of my food. This slow, attentive eating made the meal more enjoyable and gave my mind a break. Mindfulness in daily activities helps reduce stress. My husband Adam and I make time to talk about our feelings. We share what worries us and support each other. This honest communication builds trust and lowers stress in our relationship. Opening up to loved ones is essential. When I feel overwhelmed by tasks, I remind myself that perfection is not the goal. Doing my best is enough. This mindset helps me avoid unnecessary pressure and enjoy the process more. On some mornings, I stretch my arms and legs before getting out of bed. This simple routine wakes up my body gently and prepares me for the day. Starting the day with calm movement sets a peaceful tone. I also try to limit caffeine, as too much makes me feel anxious. Drinking herbal teas or water helps me stay calm and hydrated. Taking care of my body supports my mental health. One evening, Lily wanted to tell me a story about her day. I put down my phone and listened fully. Giving my attention made her happy and helped me feel connected and calm. Being present with family reduces stress. Sometimes I write down goals for the week. Having a plan keeps me focused and reduces the stress of forgetting important things. I use a simple notebook and write a few lines every Sunday. My friend Rachel uses a gratitude jar. She writes good things on small notes and puts them in the jar. When she feels down, she reads the notes. This practice reminds her of positive moments and lifts her mood. When I feel tense, I practice progressive muscle relaxation. I tense each muscle group for a few seconds, then release. This helps my body let go of stress physically. I learned this from a health workshop and find it very helpful. During difficult conversations, I try to stay calm by listening more than speaking. Understanding others' feelings reduces conflict and stress. Patience and empathy go a long way. One afternoon, I took a quiet walk around the block. I noticed the colors of the trees, the sound of birds, and the feeling.
One morning, I woke up feeling overwhelmed before a busy day ahead. I decided to try something new. I sat quietly and wrote down everything I needed to do. Seeing my tasks on paper helped me feel less anxious because I could plan how to complete each one step by step. Planning ahead helps me manage stress better than trying to remember everything in my head. My husband Adam has a way of dealing with stress after a hard day at work. He enjoys doing small repairs around the house. Fixing things like a loose door handle or a broken chair helps him focus his mind on something productive and calm. One evening, after a difficult meeting, he spent time fixing a shelf. When he finished, he said he felt relaxed and proud. Finding simple activities that bring a sense of accomplishment can help reduce stress. My friend Rachel told me she keeps a small box with notes of positive memories and compliments she has received. Whenever she feels stressed or down, she reads these notes to remind herself of good times and strengths. I tried this idea and found it comforting. Having reminders of positivity helps shift the mind away from stress. One afternoon, I was trying to work while Daniel was doing his homework nearby. The noise and movement made it hard to concentrate. I paused and suggested we take a short break together. We stepped outside and took a slow walk around the block. The fresh air and quiet conversation refreshed both of us. Taking breaks to connect with family can reduce stress for everyone. When Lily feels anxious before a test, I encourage her to prepare well and then trust her efforts. I remind her that mistakes are part of learning and that trying her best is what matters. This mindset helps her feel calmer and more confident. My neighbor, Mr. James, enjoys reading books in the evenings. He told me that reading helps him relax by taking his mind away from daily worries. I started reading short stories before bed and noticed that it helps me fall asleep more peacefully. One day, Adam and I cooked dinner together. The simple act of chopping vegetables and stirring the pot helped us talk about our day and relax. Cooking can be a form of meditation when we focus on the process instead of rushing. When I feel tired and stressed, I remind myself to drink enough water. Sometimes dehydration makes me feel worse. Carrying a water bottle and drinking regularly keeps my energy up and helps me stay calm. My friend Michael shared that he practices yoga to manage stress.
He said it helps him connect his mind and body and improves his mood. I have started doing gentle stretching exercises in the morning, and it makes me feel more relaxed throughout the day. One weekend, Daniel and I planted flowers in the garden. Watching the seeds grow day by day taught me patience and gave me joy. Spending time with nature reduces stress and helps me feel grounded. When I feel overwhelmed by many tasks, I remind myself to focus on one thing at a time. Multitasking can increase stress, so I choose to do my best on one job before moving to the next. My cousin Emma told me she writes down her worries and then tears the paper into small pieces. This physical act helps her feel lighter and releases tension. I tried this and found it helpful when my mind is full of anxious thoughts. One evening, Lily and I made a list of things that make us happy. It included simple things like sunshine, fresh fruit, and family hugs. Reading the list whenever we feel stressed reminds us to focus on good things. Adam and I sometimes take a few minutes to practice deep breathing together. We sit quietly, breathe slowly, and listen to the sounds around us. This shared calm time strengthens our connection and reduces stress. When I feel worried about the future, I remind myself to focus on what I can control today. Planning and taking small steps help me feel empowered rather than helpless. My friend Sarah enjoys journaling. She writes about her day and her feelings to understand herself better. I started this practice too, and it helps me recognize stress triggers and find ways to cope. Sometimes I take a short walk outside during lunch. Feeling the breeze and noticing the colors of the trees helps me clear my mind and return to work with more energy. When Daniel struggles with a problem, I encourage him to ask for help. Knowing it's okay to seek support reduces his stress and helps him learn better. One morning, I practiced positive self-talk by repeating, "I am strong, I am calm, I can handle this." These words helped me face a challenging meeting with confidence. My neighbor Clara often invites me for tea and friendly chats. Talking and laughing with her helps me forget worries and feel supported. When I feel impatient, I remind myself that everything takes time. Patience is a gift I give myself to reduce stress. One day, Adam and I cooked dinner together. Breaking the work into small tasks made it manageable and less stressful. Finishing the job gave us both a sense of accomplishment. I tried to keep my home organized because clutter makes me feel anxious. Spending a few minutes tidying each day keeps my space calm and my mind clear. My friend Mark told me that helping others reduces his stress. Volunteering at a local shelter gives him joy and perspective. I find small ways to help neighbors and friends, which lift my mood. When I feel sad, I remind myself to focus on the good things in life. Gratitude shifts my attention and lightens my heart. One evening, Lily and I played a quiet game of I Spy. Focusing on the game helped her forget worries and enjoy the moment. I practice grounding techniques by focusing on my senses. Feeling the texture of a blanket or smelling fresh flowers brings me back to the present when my mind is restless. When Daniel struggles before school, I encourage him to prepare well and take deep breaths. These steps build his confidence. I keep a list of affirmations like, "I am strong, I am calm, I can handle this." Reading them daily helps me stay positive. Sometimes I use visualization. I imagine myself in a peaceful place like a garden or a quiet beach. This mental escape helps me relax. When I feel tense, I take a moment to stretch my body slowly. Releasing physical tension helps my mind relax too. My husband Adam and I talk openly about our feelings. Sharing concerns reduces stress and builds understanding. I try to focus on solutions instead of problems. Asking, "What can I do now?" helps me move forward calmly. When I feel overwhelmed, I take a short break to breathe deeply and drink water. Small pauses refresh my energy. One afternoon, I helped my neighbor carry groceries. Helping others brings joy and reduces stress. I try to celebrate small victories like completing a task or making a kind choice. Recognizing progress boosts my mood. When I feel anxious, I count slowly to 10 before reacting. This pause helps me respond calmly. I try to get enough sleep because rest helps me manage stress better. Sometimes I write letters to myself offering encouragement. These letters remind me to be patient and kind. When I feel overwhelmed, I break tasks into smaller parts. This makes challenges easier to handle. My family supports me, and I support them. Together, we share strength and peace.
One busy morning, I woke up feeling anxious about the tasks waiting for me. I decided to start my day with a simple exercise. I sat by the window, closed my eyes, and took 10 deep breaths, slowly counting each one. This helped me calm my racing thoughts and prepare for the day ahead. I learned that taking a few moments for myself before starting work can make a big difference in how I handle stress. My husband, Adam, has a habit of taking short walks around the neighborhood after dinner. He told me that walking helps him clear his mind and think more clearly. One evening, after a difficult day at work, he invited me to join him. We walked slowly, noticing the flowers and the quiet streets. The fresh air and gentle movement made both of us feel relaxed and more connected. My daughter Lily sometimes feels nervous before school tests. To help her, I suggested she practice positive visualization. She imagines herself answering questions confidently and finishing the test calmly. After practicing this, she told me she feels more prepared and less worried. Imagining success is a powerful way to reduce stress and build confidence. One afternoon, I helped my neighbor Clara with her garden. We planted new flowers and watered the plants together. Clara said that gardening helps her forget stressful thoughts and feel peaceful. Spending time outdoors and caring for plants is a natural way to relax and refresh the mind. When I feel overwhelmed by work, I try to organize my tasks by writing a to-do list. I divide my day into small parts and focus on completing one task at a time. This way, I don't feel rushed or pressured. I remind myself that doing my best is enough and that progress is more important than perfection. My friend Mark shared a helpful tip about managing stress. He practices gratitude every evening. Before bed, he writes down 3 things he's thankful for that happened during the day. I started doing this too, and it helps me focus on the positive instead of worries. Gratitude changes the way I see my day and reduces feelings of stress. One morning, Daniel and I went for a short walk in the park. We talked about his day at school, and I listened carefully to his stories. Being present with him and sharing quiet time helped both of us feel calm. Spending time with loved ones strengthens relationships and eases stress. When I feel tense, I remind myself to drink water. Sometimes dehydration makes me feel tired and anxious. Carrying a water bottle and sipping water throughout the day helps me stay hydrated and focused. My cousin Emma practices deep breathing exercises every morning. She inhales slowly for 4 seconds, holds her breath for 4 seconds, then exhales for 4 seconds. This rhythm helps her stay calm and start the day peacefully. I tried this technique and found it very helpful for managing stress. One evening, Adam and I spent time cooking dinner together. We peeled vegetables, stirred pots, and talked quietly. Cooking with care and attention helped us relax and enjoy the moment. Simple activities like this can serve as mindfulness practice. When I feel frustrated, I try to take a break and step outside.
Even a few minutes of fresh air helps me reset. I once had a stressful morning full of tasks, but after walking around the block, I felt ready to return and finish my work calmly. My friend Sarah finds comfort in journaling. Writing down her thoughts and feelings helps her understand and manage stress. I keep a journal too, where I write about my day and what I'm grateful for. Putting feelings on paper creates space for calm and clarity. Sometimes I practice progressive muscle relaxation. I tense my muscles for a few seconds and then slowly release the tension. Starting with my feet and moving upward, this exercise helps my body feel lighter and my mind calmer. When Lily feels nervous, I encourage her to take deep breaths and speak slowly. She says this helps her feel more confident during school presentations. Teaching children simple stress management skills supports their growth. My neighbor, Mr. Lewis, told me that listening to the sounds of nature helps him relax. He enjoys sitting outside and hearing birds or wind in the trees. I try to notice natural sounds around me too, and it brings a peaceful feeling. One day, I tried mindful eating. I focused on the texture, taste, and smell of my food instead of eating quickly. This slow, thoughtful eating made me feel more satisfied and less rushed. When I feel anxious, I remind myself to focus on the present moment instead of worrying about the future. I notice what is around me, the colors, sounds, and sensations. Being present reduces stress and helps me feel grounded. Adam and I often share our feelings at the end of the day. Talking honestly about challenges and joys creates connection and support. Knowing we can count on each other reduces stress in our family. Sometimes I practice positive affirmations like, I am calm, I am capable, and I am strong. Saying these phrases helps me build confidence and face challenges with a positive mindset. When I feel overwhelmed, I write down my worries and then decide which ones I can act on and which ones I should let go. This helps me focus my energy on what I can change. One weekend, Daniel and I planted herbs in small pots. Watching the plants grow slowly taught us patience. Nature's rhythms remind me that growth takes time, and that's okay. My friend Michael practices yoga, which helps him connect his mind and body. I have started gentle stretching exercises in the morning, and it helps me feel calm and ready for the day. When I feel tired, I try to rest rather than push through. Taking a short nap or simply relaxing for a few minutes recharges my energy and reduces stress. Sometimes I practice grounding by focusing on 5 things I see, 4 things I can touch, 3 sounds I hear, 2 things I smell, and 1 thing I taste. This exercise brings me back to the present and helps quiet my mind. My daughter Lily sometimes reminds me to look at the world with curiosity. Her excitement about small things teaches me to appreciate simple joys, which helps reduce stress. When I face a difficult task, I remind myself to break it into smaller steps. Tackling one part at a time makes the work manageable and less stressful. Adam has taught me the value of patience. When problems arise, he says, let's take a deep breath and think it through. His calm approach helps me stay centered. One day, I wrote a list of things I love about my family. Reading this list brings warmth and peace during stressful moments. I also practice saying no when I need to protect my time and energy. Setting boundaries is important for reducing stress and maintaining balance. When Daniel feels frustrated, I remind him that it's okay to take a break and try again later. Encouraging rest and patience helps him manage challenges. My friend Lucy told me that laughter is a great stress reliever. Sharing jokes and funny stories with family lightens the mood and creates happy memories. When I feel worried, I practice visualization by imagining myself in a peaceful place. This mental escape helps me calm down and regain focus. I try to keep a gratitude journal, writing 3 things I'm grateful for each day. This practice shifts my attention from worries to blessings. Sometimes I practice deep breathing before important tasks. Taking slow, controlled breaths helps me stay calm and focused. When I feel overwhelmed, I remind myself that I am doing my best and that it's okay to ask for help. Seeking support strengthens resilience. My family and I enjoy spending quiet evenings together, sharing stories and supporting one another. These moments of connection reduce stress and build love. These habits and stories from my life and my family, Adam, Lily, Daniel, and my friends, have helped us handle stress and find peace. I hope sharing them encourages you to find calm and strength in your own life.
One morning, I woke up feeling worried about the busy day ahead. Instead of rushing, I decided to take a few moments to sit quietly with my cup of tea. I focused on my breathing and reminded myself to take one step at a time. This slow start helped me feel calmer and more ready to face the day. Sometimes, giving yourself time to pause before beginning tasks can reduce stress greatly. My husband Adam often finds relief from stress by organizing things around the house. He says that tidying up gives him a sense of control and makes the space feel peaceful. One weekend, we spent the afternoon cleaning our garage. Breaking the work into small jobs made it easier. By the end, we both felt satisfied and relaxed. Organizing your environment can clear your mind, too. My friend Clara told me she likes to carry a small notebook to write down any worries that come to her mind. When she feels stressed, she writes her thoughts and then closes the notebook, leaving the worries behind. I tried this method and found it helpful to stop overthinking. One day, Daniel came home from school feeling upset about a test. I listened to him carefully and then suggested we take a short walk together. As we walked, I encouraged him to talk about what made him nervous and what he could do next time. The fresh air and conversation helped him feel better and think clearly. When Lily has a hard time sleeping because of worries, I suggest she try counting slowly backward from 100. This simple distraction helps her relax and fall asleep more easily. I use this technique myself sometimes when my mind won't stop racing. My neighbor, Mr. Lewis, shared that drinking warm herbal tea helps him unwind in the evening. I started drinking chamomile tea before bed and notice it helps me sleep more peacefully. Sometimes I practice mindful breathing by paying attention to each breath I take. Inhaling slowly through my nose and exhaling gently through my mouth helps me focus and calm my thoughts. One afternoon, Adam and I decided to plant some flowers in the garden. While working together, we talked about our week and shared laughs. Gardening gave us a peaceful moment and reminded us to enjoy simple things. When I feel overwhelmed with work, I make a list of the most important tasks to complete first. Seeing the list helps me focus and reduces the feeling of being overwhelmed. My friend Rachel told me that taking small breaks to stretch during the day helps her stay calm. I started doing simple stretches at my desk, which relaxes my body and mind. One day,
I noticed that spending a few minutes outside in the sunshine made me feel happier. Natural light and fresh air are great for reducing stress and boosting mood. When Daniel feels anxious about speaking in front of the class, I remind him to practice deep breathing and imagine a friendly audience. Positive visualization builds his confidence and eases nervousness. My cousin Emma uses positive affirmations every morning. She says phrases like, "I am capable," and "I am calm." Saying these words aloud helped me start my day with more confidence. When I feel tired and stressed, I remind myself that rest is important. Taking short naps or quiet moments helps me recharge and manage stress better. One evening, Lily and I made a list of our favorite calming activities. It included things like reading, drawing, and spending time outside. Having this list helps her choose ways to relax when she feels upset. Adam and I practice gratitude together each night. We share 3 things we are thankful for from the day. This simple habit helps us focus on positive moments and feel connected. When I face a challenging problem, I break it down into smaller steps. Focusing on one part at a time makes it easier and less stressful. My friend Michael enjoys yoga, which helps him connect his mind and body and relax. I have started doing gentle stretches in the morning, and it makes me feel more peaceful. Sometimes I use mindful breathing by paying attention to each breath I take. Inhaling slowly through my nose and exhaling gently through my mouth helps me focus and calm my thoughts. One afternoon, Adam and I decided to plant some flowers in the garden. While working together, we talked about our week and shared laughs. Gardening gave us a peaceful moment and reminded us to enjoy simple things. When I feel overwhelmed with work, I make a list of the most important tasks to complete first. Seeing the list helps me focus and reduces the feeling of being overwhelmed. My friend Rachel told me that taking small breaks to stretch during the day helps her stay calm. I started doing simple stretches at my desk, which relaxes my body and mind. One day, I noticed that spending a few minutes outside in the sunshine made me feel happier. Natural light and fresh air are great for reducing stress and boosting mood. When Daniel feels anxious about speaking in front of the class, I remind him to practice deep breathing and imagine a friendly audience. Positive visualization builds his confidence and eases nervousness. My cousin Emma uses positive affirmations every morning. She says phrases like, "I am capable," and "I am calm." Saying these words aloud helped me start my day with more confidence. When I feel tired and stressed, I remind myself that rest is important. Taking short naps or quiet moments helps me recharge and manage stress better. One evening, Lily and I made a list of our favorite calming activities. It included things like reading, drawing, and spending time outside. Having this list helps her choose ways to relax when she feels upset. Adam and I practice gratitude together each night. We share 3 things we are thankful for from the day. This simple habit helps us focus on positive moments and feel connected. When I face a challenging problem, I break it down into smaller steps. Focusing on one part at a time makes it easier and less stressful. My friend Michael enjoys yoga, which helps him connect his mind and body and relax. I have started doing gentle stretches in the morning, and it makes me feel more peaceful. Sometimes I use grounding techniques by focusing on my senses. I notice the feel of the chair, the sounds around me, and the colors I see. This practice helps me stay in the present moment. When I feel frustrated, I remind myself to speak kindly to myself. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," I say, "I will do my best." Positive self-talk reduces stress and builds confidence. One weekend, Daniel and I planted herbs in small pots. Watching the plants grow slowly taught me patience and gave me joy. Caring for living things connects me to nature and calms my mind. My neighbor, Clara, often invites me to join her for tea and conversation. Talking with her helps me feel supported and less alone in stressful times. When I feel anxious, I practice visualization by imagining a peaceful place, such as a quiet garden or calm beach. This mental escape helps me relax deeply. Sometimes I take a moment to smile and breathe slowly. Smiling even when stressed changes my mood and helps me feel lighter. When I feel overwhelmed, I remind myself that it is okay to say no to extra tasks. Protecting my time and energy reduces stress. One evening, Adam and I cooked dinner together. The focus on simple tasks and the conversation helped us unwind. I keep a gratitude journal where I write 3 things I am thankful for each day. This habit helps me focus on positive thoughts and reduces worries. When I feel tired, I make sure to drink water. Staying hydrated keeps my body and mind functioning well. Sometimes I practice progressive muscle relaxation. I tense and then release muscle groups to reduce physical tension